This is take 2. Welcome to Live with the Paper Pixie, the actual episode 250 where my microphone works. I'm going to wait a little bit for you guys to find me. Apologies for the technical glitches. I guess my computer decided it needed to be rebooted. So I'm here. Just want to introduce myself. I'm Julie DiMatteo. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in the US. And if you are watching live, say hello and where you're watching from. I see a few of you have found me. Give me a thumbs up or let me know that you can hear me okay. My mic decided, yeah, not gonna work tonight. So that's okay, that's par for the course. Thank you guys for searching for me and hanging tight. Technology glitches happen and I'm trying to remain calm. So welcome. If you're watching on replay, hello to my replay warriors. I will end up deleting the live stream that didn't work. This is take 2 of episode 250 of the Paper Pixie. I see your comments coming in, so you're finding me. I'm excited about tonight. We're going to be using the Christmas Scottie bundle. Really sweet bundle. I'm going to try to make some non-Christmas projects for you tonight. I whipped up some samples last minute, so stick with me tonight. We are on the last week of summer. The kids are out of summer camp inadvertently because Nolan had COVID a couple weeks ago. So that sort of messed up our plans. I will be back on my regular schedule starting next week. The kids are starting school on Monday, 1st grade and 4th grade. Tomorrow we get to do their sneak peek to meet their teachers and drop off their school supplies, figure out the bus schedule for the school year. So it'll be interesting. The bus is picking up a little bit early because there's a bus driver shortage. So we'll be getting up a little earlier. That's going to be a big wake-up call come Monday morning. So again, thanks for your patience tonight. Brian, are you ready for your cameo tonight? Brian's really helping me here. If you have questions tonight, please put a Q colon in front of your question. We will save your questions for the end of the live stream. Everybody's saying my mic is good, right? I forgot to check. Okay. We're going to do Q&A at the end of tonight's live stream. That'll help me focus on tonight's projects because I need all the help I can get tonight. So I actually just changed dimensions on the fly right before going live because it just didn't work out. That's how my brain works. So anyways, questions at the end. I'll try to remind you throughout tonight's live stream. We're doing the Christmas Scottie bundle. I believe this was a special request from one of my fans, and I'm sorry I don't remember your name, but I know I was asked if I will be using the Christmas Scottie bundle. We're doing that tonight, going with a black and red theme. And I went to the grocery store with Nolan today and found a treat to put inside of it. So stay tuned for that. I do have show and tell from the kids, but really quickly, I didn't print it out, but if you shop with me, you earn Pixie perks on orders of $25 or more. You do want to use my current host code on orders up to or under $150. That way you'll earn Pixie perks, which you can redeem when you reach 10 Pixie perk stars. You earn a Pixie perks reward. And the easiest way to make sure that that host code is applied is to use my shopping link, thepaperpixie.com/shop. While it looks like that goes to my personal website, that actually takes you to the Stampin' Up! Store, ensuring that you're shopping with me as well as having the current host code applied. I always like to say it's auto-magically applied. And what's really exciting about shopping right now is Stampin' Up! Has added 10 new celebration items available for redemption, 6 products that are free with $50, and 4 products that are free with $100. The free with $100 are actually, actually die sets that range in value from $32 to $38. So talk about a great, fantastic freebie to add with an order of 100. You can get a $32 to $38 value set of dies. Make sure you check that out at stampinup.com and see the new items. Otherwise, I would have printed the flyer so you could see that. The free with $50 purchase items range in price from $7.50 in value up to $15. That's the brushed metallic cardstock, which is beautiful. And I love that you can choose that item for free with a $50 purchase. So that's what's going on this month. And I've got show and tell from the kids. I'm going to get that basic black cardstock out of the way. I think I need that. The kids have been out of summer camp, so they kind of went back to their summer stash of summer camp projects. I'm trying to grab. This is what Lily made. She's our 4th grader. She made this really long. You guys know these little chain link projects, but she made a really fun long snake. So that's what she made. It's noisy, isn't it? And then Nolan, who is our big time foodie, he made a donut. That makes me want donuts now. So Brian and I took the kids to Zoo Atlanta. Let me come back to my main camera really quickly. I'm going to throw myself off here, just tell you a quick story. So we went to Zoo Atlanta yesterday. It was 96% humidity, but Zoo Atlanta has a Lego exhibit. So there are zoo animals all throughout the park. We walked 3 miles. Zoo Atlanta is big outdoors, up hills, and it's one of our favorite zoos. But they had Lego animals all throughout the park. And the first one Nolan wanted a picture with was a lion. But it was so cool. They told us the number of Lego bricks that they used and how long it took them. I don't remember the artist's name, but he created all these amazing zoo animals. And they were, I was trying to think what I was going to say. They were just all through the park. So it was a little bit of like a find and seek kind of thing, which is very, very cool. So I'm going to show you my samples, but caveat, we're going to switch it up just a little bit tonight. So we are going to be doing a 2-fold panel card, and don't look too closely, but you can see that I forgot to clean my stamp set before I stamped it. But this is the Christmas Scottie bundle. And you can find that on page 34 of the mini catalog, okay? And it's a great bundle. I love our punch bundles because the price point is fantastic, $36.75. And honestly, whether you have a Scottie dog or not, if you're an animal lover, I think this is such an adorable little set. Love the way that you can create a little gingham Scottie dog here. It's got the built-in bow. I'm going to show you a couple tips or tricks to use the Stamparatus tonight. And just a sweet little bundle of products. We're going to use that. So a 2-fold panel card. This has been floating around the interwebs as a fun fold. I absolutely love it. So using the contrast of the black and red. So this does not have to be a Christmas card. And then this is totally not finished yet, but this is going to be, and the box we're going to end up doing tonight is square, so stick with me. You may not recognize this paper. I just used my Stampin' Blend to add a little bit of red to that gingham cottage, I think is what the designer series paper is called. We're going to add some here as well, but as I was creating the box, so these are the Walker's Shortbread Rounds. And it actually needs a 3x3 box. It was kind of swimming in here. This is a 3x4x1 box. You could put some chocolates in there for sure. It'll definitely fit a gift card this direction, but I will say I'm gonna do the 3x3 box tonight, and it will not fit a gift card because gift cards need to be boxes need to be 3 1/8 inch for a gift card. But keep that in mind. This isn't too terrible to resize. I may include both sizes on my blog as well. But as you'll see, I can put it this way. So we're going to do a little 3x3. And I want to give a shout out to Angie Judah for this really cute sort of closure idea, this double flap closure on the box. I am using a magnet. This magnet will be hidden. So we will finish this project tonight. I haven't even done, we're going to add actually the same tag here on the front. Okay, so make that kind of quick and easy. Let's go ahead and jump into, we're going to start with the 2-fold panel card. And again, forgive me, we've had the kids home unexpectedly, so my days have been wackadoo. Have they not been wackadoo? They've been crazy. All right, so for the 2-fold panel card, and many of you have probably tried this before. It does use a little bit more cardstock than a normal card. Normal cards would be a half sheet of 8.5 by 11. This is actually going to use a little more than half, so you can only get one card out of a sheet of 8.5 by 11. I'm going to have to refer to my notes and make sure I get my measurements correct. But we are actually going to cut this to 5.5 by 11. So 5.5. You can save that, put it in your scrap stash. But I think this is such a cool card, fun fold card. All right, so along the 11-inch side now, many of you are going to ask, the autofocus. I've got a new camera, you guys, and it doesn't seem to like the black. So hang tight for this. That's so weird. It's doing continuous autofocus. Hopefully y'all aren't getting dizzy. But along the 5.5 inch, if I keep my hands in here, it won't autofocus so much. We are gonna first score at 1 3/4. But then I'm gonna flip my cardstock and we're gonna do, ooh, I'm gonna have to fix that. Okay, and then 5.5 and 9 3/4. Okay, so let me repeat that again really quickly. We did 1 3/4, then I flipped it and we did 5.5, 9 3/4. Okay. Oh, stop, Cynthia. I didn't see those. Walker's also makes a Scottie dog shortbread cookie. How cool is that? That would be perfect for this bundle for sure. All right, so we're gonna fold and burnish, but let me point out really quickly. We are taking the Valley, oh, the black is freaking out on the camera. Oh, we'll do the Valley score line. I'm gonna turn into a mountain fold. So I turned this one this way because we did that on the opposite side. Followed by, these are gonna go the opposite direction. So the way that this is gonna fold together is like so. See that? Okay. Now, you can also have the card go this way if you want it to open in this direction. You get options, okay, which is very, very cool. All right. Bringing in, we've got the gingham. Let's see, did I hang on to that? I was looking for my swatch, but of course it's not. With these, I like to cut a strip to 5 1/4. Now, I'm gonna use a minimal amount of designer series paper. You can absolutely double this up for this fun fold card tonight. I think this one's probably already at 5 1/4. Yes. So for the black and white, we are going to do, let's see, 3.5. Sorry. Yes, 3.5 by 5 1/4. You could do 2 of these if you wanted to put designer series paper on both sides. And then we're gonna do one at 1 by 5 1/4. So if you start with the 5 1/4 inch measurement, then you can just cut these panels. Again, you could cut 2 of these if you wanted as well, but we're gonna keep paper minimal tonight. Let me make sure I'm on the 5 1/4 inch side. Yes, and then for this piece, we are going to do 1.5. Again, you could do 2 of these as well. I'll repeat those measurements here. And forgive the mess behind me. All right, so we did 3.5 by 5 1/4, 1.5 by 5 1/4, and 1 by 5 1/4. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and glue those down. I do normally create behind me, so that's why the mess is behind me. We met Brian's best man for lunch today, and my schedule's off. They are on their way to move across country to the state of Oregon. They've got, what is it, a 42-hour drive ahead of them? So, long drive. So this little strip is gonna go here. And this is a fun card when you've got great patterns of designer series paper, because you can showcase multiple patterns that coordinate together. This Gingham Cottage designer series paper is a mega pack of paper. It is, you'll find it in the fall projects in the mini catalog. It is 48 sheets of 12 by 12, believe it or not, which is just crazy. So. Oh, Roxanne, you're in Oregon. I love the Pacific Northwest. So does Brian. And I love using liquid glue here because it kind of lets me slip and slide things into place. Gives me some wiggle room to get that lined up just right. So that one's gonna go here. There we go. Shout outs for Oregon. All right, there we go. Okay, so that's what it's gonna look like. Love the contrast of the black and white and the red. I'm gonna bring in the Very Best Trio punch here. Now I'm doing this kind of ahead of time here, but we are gonna punch. There's a really great ribbon slit here on the Very Best Trio punch. You've got the center marker here that helps you center the panel that you want to add that ribbon slot to. So I'm going to put that on the red panel here. And this is going to be how we're going to close this panel card. A lot of the samples that I saw on Pinterest close this with a belly band. You could absolutely do a belly band. I love the look of the red ribbon. Now that's a combo pack that comes with, I believe it's garden green and real red. You get 5 yards of each. I love me some Tillamook cheese, Mary. Her sister-in-law lives in Tillamook. All right, so I'm also gonna do a little bit of fun stuff on the inside here. So we're using the Stamparatus. Now, hopefully I can find my stuff tonight. That's what's gonna be hilarious if I cannot find it. You have the one Stamparatus plate. Yes, thank you. Thank you, thank you. We're gonna do a little bit of fun stuff on the inside. Forgive the mess. I try to use these. This is the small grid paper that fits with the Stamparatus. I do want to show one more thing that I've got here. The Stamparatus comes with the foam mat, but I also love to add the Stampin' Storage magnet pad. It gives a little bit of extra oomph, so I get a better stamped image. I'm looking for this and a piece of paper. Got a piece of basic white that measures 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to put that here, and we're going to do a little cute woof, the doggy woofing in the corner, and we're going to use Memento Tuxedo Black ink. Now I am using the Stamparatus because, and you guys have probably experienced this before, with Memento ink and photopolymer, they don't always go together really well, and I think it's just because it's a water-based ink. Well, that's not fair. It's because it's a felt pad, I believe, working on photopolymer. Sometimes what you can do, there's a couple different tips or tricks. You can condition your photopolymer with some Versamark. You can stick it on your pants a little bit to kind of rough up the stamp itself. Also, inking it up a couple times works too, but we're gonna go ahead and use this. Let me grab, I always like to grab the stamp set. That's what the stamp set looks like, Christmas Scottie. And I like to put that underneath. It's like the perfect height. Apologies for the light glare there. But I'm gonna go ahead and ink up this stamp. And you'll see the first time I stamp this, we're gonna get a little bit of the felt texture. And now I've got a really juicy ink pad here. But it's not gonna be a perfect stamp the first time. And that's just been my experience. So I do like to use the Stamparatus. So you can see I don't get a perfect stamped image that time, but I'm just gonna come back again, and usually 2 tries does the trick. You do wanna make sure you've got quite a bit of ink coverage. StazOn works for this as well, although StazOn's really going to stain your photopolymer because we really can't use the StazOn cleaner. It's going to affect the photopolymer stamp set. So this isn't going to be perfect. We'll have a little bit of texture on the stamp, but isn't he so cute? So I just set up that stamp image and the woof at the same time, just looking like it's coming out of his mouth. And then the other thing we're going to do here is stamp his little collar and bow, or her collar and bow, I should say. It could be a boy or a girl. Boys wear bows too, so I'm just, with the photopolymer, I can just see exactly where I'm stamping. And just a reminder, if you're new here, we're gonna take questions at the end, so if you do have a question, put a Q in front of it. That will make sure that it gets queued for me at the end of the live stream, and I'll stay on until I answer all your questions. So I love how that bow fits perfectly in the little crook of his or her neck, but just a little sweet thing for the inside of this card. Let's go ahead and close up my ink pad before I make a big ol' mess. All right, so this will go in here. There we go. Oh, I just love that. Isn't that cute? Just a little peekaboo on the inside of the card. So it's gonna go like this. Now we gotta make our little tag here. Now I'm gonna show you a trick. Lots of you provided these great suggestions the last time I was using a punch builder, a builder punch. Can't remember which punch it was, but I'm gonna show you a great technique for maximizing your cardstock and getting two things punched, lining up your stamps for a builder punch, okay? Take a sip of water really quick because I've been talking too much today. All right, so let's see. I've already set this up on my Stamparatus plate, so this is on both sides. You get 2 plates with the Stamparatus. And I've got a little template here. So I grabbed a scrap piece of, it's so funny. That is red ink. Can you guys see how that looks kind of yellow on the black cardstock? Isn't that weird? It's like the red, it reacted with the black. I got a scrap piece of black cardstock, so here's what the Scottie Dog Builder Punch looks like. And I just have a scrap piece of cardstock. My tip here is you could push it all the way up if you wanted to. I'm gonna bring it down just a little bit. This is gonna be how I create the template. Okay, I'm gonna make sure that I use this template because this template is what I set up my stamps for. But just to show you, I took a scrap piece of basic white and punched my Scottie Dog. I came up a little bit and then just brought it back, okay? Now what we're gonna do is, hold on, let me put a star on this one because this is the one that we're using tonight that's already set up. It does take a little bit of work to get it set up, but kind of one of those measure twice, cut once things. So just pretend this is the template we just created. I put the basic black cardstock underneath so you can absolutely see the contrast where the punch is. That helps when essentially what you would do is you would take your stamp and lay it right in this punch out, okay? So let's pretend, put that stamp somewhere. We're just gonna pretend that one of these is, because I don't wanna mess up the way it's already lined up. It took me a couple tries to get it there. But let's pretend that this is the punch stamp. I would lay it, the side that I'm gonna put ink on, you put that face down and you'd put it right inside that silhouette that was created by the punch. Then you'd come in and pick it up with the Stamparatus plate, okay? And then what I do is I would flip the plate. Same thing with the bow. Set the bow in this little punch out template, making sure that you've always got this butted up to this upper corner here, okay? Set that where you want it in that little punch out, pick it up on the plate, and then these two are ready to go, okay? So you can pull the basic black cardstock away. That just helps you line up the stamp, okay? I don't need this piece either because this is my template, but you can see here, I tested it on my small grid paper with the stamps and you can see that those line up really well so that I can do 2 stamps and 1 punch, okay? So I'm just gonna grab another scrap piece of basic white. Now that my stamps are lined up here, again, I do like to have that stamp set just underneath the plate here. Red ink, we're gonna do the bow first. Just happens to be the stamp that's facing up. The other great thing about the Stamparatus, again, is if you need to stamp it twice because you didn't get, maybe you didn't get ink where you wanted to get it, or your stamp image is not as strong as you'd like it to be, that actually looks pretty good. You can ink it up again, and as long as this is butted up into the corner each time, it's gonna stamp exactly where you want it. I'm gonna go ahead and flip. I actually need to do this twice, so, because we're gonna do both for the gift box and the Twofold panel card. All right, so I'm gonna have to stamp this little guy a couple times. You can use your magnet. I've said before I'm kind of a lazy stamper. I just always make sure that that cardstock is butted up into the corner. It's a pretty good coverage stamp there, but let's go over it one more time. I love stamp positioning tools. If you don't already have one, I highly recommend the Stamparatus. There we go. Okay, now here's the magic. Grabbing my punch, and we're gonna do this one more time because it's just so fun to watch. Oh, what did I do? Oh, I know what I did wrong here. Hold on, I didn't do anything wrong, but I need to trim a little bit. I must have picked a larger piece. So if your punch isn't fitting quite all the way, just go ahead and trim off a little bit from the bottom. User error there. So that's lined up, okay? And then we'll have our perfectly lined up Scottie and bow, all with one punch. And that's so cute. So let's do that one more time. I think I can do it this way. Let's see. Just want to make sure that bow, oh yeah, we'll continue to use this scrap piece of basic white. It's not really scrap because we're using it. Got the bow. And then we'll do the Scottie here. And this guy would be so cute in Christmas colors, browns, really pretty. Do it once and then twice. And again, it's just the nature of how the memento is getting inked up onto the photopolymer. If you guys have any other great tips or tricks, feel free to share them in the comments. There we go. So cute. Love it. Get this guy out of the way. All right, and punch. There's something so satisfying about punching. There we go. Runaway Scottie dog. And again, we've got our really sweet Scottie with his red bow. Looks so handsome. And then I'm just going to use some liquid glue on both of those. Just a little bit there in the center of the bow, and we're just going to cover up kind of that little collar. Just so cute. Cutie cutie. And I love that little white border around it. So we'll have our projects completely coordinate tonight, but let's go ahead and get these guys ready to go. Okay, got those guys. Let's tidy up my mess here. Like we said, if there's no craft or math, did we actually ever craft? Did we actually craft? It's just proof. You should see what's at my feet right now. All right, I'm going to die cut 2 circles from the Stylish Shapes dies. Anything I need to clarify from what you're seeing so far? Okay. So Stylish Shapes, let me show you what the rest of those look like. You get 15 dies, but absolutely love the different squares and circles. Sorry. Such a heavy drawer with my dies. And banners, that Stylish Shapes. And I love the little stitching that we get. So we'll cut 2 circles. We'll see how noisy my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine wants to be tonight. So far, so good. There we go, perfect. All right, so I'm gonna do a little bit of, not surgery, but we're gonna be doing some masking here, but I need to grab my stamp and scrub because I made the mistake. As you'll notice, I forgot to clear off my stamp before I did some of that masking, and this just says, "You are loved." Oh, you know what? Lily has my Stamparatus.
Where is it?
No clue.
Am I gonna try that?
Yeah. Oh gosh. All right.
What does that look like?
Not my Stamparatus, the Stamp and Scrub and the Stamp and Mist. Like a little black and white bottle. I don't think she brought it back in here. We're just gonna go ahead and do this way of cleaning, just stamping off on some grid paper here. All right, so we're gonna go ahead, I've got Post-it tape, but you can use Post-it notes, all kinds of good stuff. And we're gonna start with, kind of rip this into a strip here. We're gonna start by masking the always loved part. And the R, the bottom of the R comes down a little bit here. And I'm gonna kind of angle this just a little bit because I don't wanna lose the bottom of the R. I wanna make sure that gets inked up. So sometimes you have to get a little strategic with how you place your pieces of Post-it tape, okay? So we're gonna ink up just the UR with our black Memento ink. And we're gonna do that on both of these. So I'm gonna make a little bit of a mess here. The best tip I have with masking is making sure you pull those off before you stamp. Don't forget to do that. And then we're gonna stamp UR towards the top here and hope that my sort of dirty stamp, there we go, UR. Let's do that one more time. I'm gonna make these totally coordinate. Okay. This is still my first roll of Post-it tape, which is awesome. Little goes a long way. Again, masking what we don't want. Inking up with the Memento. Almost forgot to pull that off. There we go. That's all right. I'm improvising, honey. And then we're gonna just ink up the word loved. So again, we're gonna do some more masking. This time we're gonna mask "You are" and "always." Awesome. Well, that's the spray. And there's no gray and black stamp and scrub. That's all right. We'll figure it out. So now we're going to mask "You are" and "always." Actually, let me stamp this off because that's what the mistake I made last time. Normally I would be using my Stamp and Mist, but Lily has been working on her paper pumpkin. Oh, yes, he found it. Rescued. All right, Stamp and Scrub, my absolute favorite stamp cleaning tool. You want to look for the raindrops, trying to get that, kind of see it in the light there. That's the side we're going to spray with Stamp and Mist. You do want to make sure you clean off your stamp for this part if you can. So wet and then dry, okay? Gonna make sure that that was clean here. Yep. All right, let's do that again. So "You are" going right up to the word "loved," making sure the R, this one's a little bit of a trickier one. Oops, as it's, because the Stamp and Mist has a little bit of conditioner in it, what happens is the Post-it tape doesn't stick as well. Oh, it's gonna do that to me tonight. Okay, hold on. Stick it on my pants. There we go. Please stick. There we go. Showing you different ways to use your stamp images and words. And this is just one of those things that when I look at a stamp set, I like to see all the different possibilities. Let's see. We're gonna go like that. Okay, so then what we have with a stamp that says you are always loved, we just did you are loved in two-tone ink colors, okay? Then let's go ahead and clean it again, since we're doing this twice. Brian loves the smell of Stampin' Mist. Not. It has a little bit of a perfumey smell. Now remember, I'm going to stick it to my pants to get some of that conditioner off. Again, covering up you are. And always. Now, as you can see, this would be a little tedious to do a whole bunch of these. Go ahead and get that off here. Don't touch those, okay? And again, you are loved, okay? Then what's gonna happen is the Scottie's gonna fit just underneath. I love the way that that kind of nestles in there. So I'm gonna take some liquid glue here. Just a little bit there in the center, enough to hold them into place. And then kind of hug the word loved with the Scottie dog. Cute little layout there. Loved it so much I wanted to put it on the box too. So the box is going to be really easy to make, so stay tuned for that. Well, I say that and I actually haven't made the box yet with the dimensions I figured out right beforehand, but hey, that's one of the benefits of a live stream. You get to see me raw and unfiltered. And then we're gonna do rhinestones, because which Scottie dog doesn't need bling? Or what Scottie dog doesn't need bling? And I like doing the big one there because it fits perfectly around sort of the center of that bow, but you could do any size of our rhinestones. One of my favorite embellishments. Actually, I think it is my favorite. So we got both of those ready to go, okay? Now one of these we're gonna turn into a tag, so I'm just gonna use 1/8 of an inch hole punch. And we're just gonna punch a little hole at the top here, like so, okay? Because we're gonna add that to our Twofold panel card that we've added our little ribbon slot here. Oh, I used contraband in case you're wondering. This is the old Stampin' Piercer instead of the Take Your Pick tool. All right, so this is the ribbon combo pack that comes in real red and garden green. Let me find the page in the catalog for that. Let's see. So I get the name right. I'm sure it's nothing fancy. Real red and garden green ribbon combo pack on page 9. I'll show you the suite that it's with. It's the big mega suite, the sweetest Christmas suite. So pages 8 and 9, and there's that ribbon combo pack. You get 5 yards of each. So we are gonna do the real red. It's kind of a taffeta, would be the best way to describe this ribbon. It is beautiful to work with. And I'm going to kind of come in, let's see. I've got to go through the tag first. So we're going through the front of the tag. Helps to have an angled cut on your ribbon. Okay, so through the tag, then through the back of that ribbon slot. Okay, so let me show you that. We're going like this. I'm going to pull this guy around the card. This is how I like to tie my bows. And then we're going to go ahead and tie our bow. But I'm going to grab my reverse tweezers if I can find my tools today. You guys may have not, those of you that didn't see my post from last week, if you tuned into last week's live, my little chiseler that I was trying to find with the Scan and Cut was literally directly to the left of this work surface. It was just hiding underneath something. Oh, Emma, yay, you're here. Thank you for the request, for sure. All right, so Hopefully I've given you a couple of ideas with this guy. Doesn't have to be Christmas, so I use my reverse tweezers here to hold that little half knot there. Gives me a third hand to do a bow here. So we'll go ahead and get our bow all zhuzhed and pretty. I do like to put my fingers in the loops. That kind of gives me a little bit of control to get the tails where I want it. I don't get too stuck in the bow there. And then we can come in and trim the tails. And yes, a little bit more challenging for the recipient to get into this card, but I absolutely love just a different way to do this two-fold panel card, or to keep it closed, tying a bow with a little ribbon slot, and then we've added that really cute Christmas Scottie bundle tag that says "You are loved." So it doesn't have to be Christmas. Fun little idea, great way to showcase coordinating colors of designer series paper. Again, you can double up on the panels if you want to, but really these 3 pieces are just enough for the front of that card. And let me go ahead and actually, I'm going to untie this one just so you can see. When you open the two-fold panel card, we've got that cute little Scottie on the inside saying woof with his cute little red bow. He or she, right? So that's the card. Let's go ahead and jump into the box, and we're going to see how this goes. I've got kind of a fun idea for you. Got to give a shout out to Sarah Douglas, the CEO of Stampin' Up, for the idea that I'm going to share tonight. But we're going to start with the base of the box. And look at that autofocus. All right, so the base of the box, I'm not showing this right now because it's making the autofocus go nuts. 6 1/4 by 11 is the size of cardstock that you need. And on the 11-inch side, sorry about the autofocus, we're going to score this at 3 and 4 from each side. 3 and 4. I'm going to turn it to the 6 1/4 inch side, and we're going to score this at 5/8 and 1 5/8 from each side. So again, rotate 5/8 and 1 5/8. Okay. That's going to leave us with like a 3 by 3 inch square here in the center that's going to fit our Walker's shortbread rounds. All right, next thing we're going to do is fold and burnish on all the score lines. I did manage to get a template cranked out right before the live. I opted to do the template instead of eating my dinner. All right, so fold and burnish on all the score lines. Let me bring in the template. This is just a little bit scaled down in size because it does take the full 11-inch width. And so what I'm going to do is with it in landscape, I'm going to come in and cut up each of the vertical score lines, stopping at the second horizontal score line. It's so funny, the black in the camera. I've got a brand new camera. We will figure that out for next week. My mission. I'm sure it bothers me more than it's bothering you guys. That's how it goes. So cutting up each of those vertical score lines, stopping at the second horizontal score line. We're going to remove these 2 sections on the outside. And I'm just cutting right down the middle of the score line. And then I'm also going to remove the one section here, but we're going to leave behind a tab. So while I'm here, I'm just going to take away that one section. We're going to repeat the same thing on both sides. And then the one. Like that. Now I'm going to fold this big section out of the way, and we're going to come in and miter cut on these tabs. Just a little angle cut here that makes it fold into the box and glue into place without any edges getting in our way. All right, so turning it around, we got those 2 tabs. We're going to do the same thing, cutting up each of the vertical score lines, stopping at the second horizontal. And then we're going to remove these two sections. And then just the one, leaving the tab behind. Same thing over here. And then remove the one section. All right. Get our pieces out of here. Okay, so we've got it, looks like this. Now there's a little bit of extra cardstock on this, but I did love the closure of those two flaps folding over each other. We're gonna round corners here. And I'm just gonna grab my retired detailed trio punch, but use any corner rounder you have. You can also use the, whatever the other trio punch is, I'm not sure. The one that we use with the slot, but it seemed a little bit fancy. Let me show you what that looks like. Oh, thank you. So this is the very best trio punch, which is available. And you'll see that it's got kind of fancy, oh, it's hard to see because it's on black. Turn it that way. Really fancy there. I kind of like the look of just the rounded corners. A little bit classier. Or maybe it's just too fancy for me. Really, really cool punch though for doing tags, because you can do tags of so many different sizes with that beautiful detailed edge. So we're just rounding corners like so. Oops, and I forgot to miter cut. Thank you guys. I do love moving that big piece out of the way to then come in and miter cut. There we go. Now we're looking close to our template here. So I'm gonna do a couple things with magnets first, and then we are going to cover the magnets up with designer series paper. I'm gonna show you a fun trick with that. I'm grabbing a pair of magnets, and I don't know if I have my, oh, I do. So I do have an affiliation with Total Element. I love these magnets. If you use that link, that will take you directly to these specific magnets that I use. And if you use the coupon code PAPERPIXIE, you'll get 10% off. They are a US company. You'll get 10% off. It's free shipping too. I love the magnets that are at this link, so go ahead and check those out if you haven't ordered magnets before. Oops. Hold on, turn that off and turn that off. There we go. And I need my glue dots. All right, so because this is kind of totally symmetrical, it doesn't really matter where we start. I'm gonna have this box close. I'm afraid to put the magnet there because I've got the big magnet bowl and it's just gonna disappear on me. I'm gonna have the box close left over right. So I'm gonna start by, I'm gonna fold this on the first score line from the right, okay? I'm gonna pick up a glue dot on the magnet, and we can use the, take your pick tool and pick that up. Maybe, it's really, there we go. I got a new roll of glue dots here. And I'm gonna come in, I don't know, 1/2 inch, because I do wanna make sure I've got some room for the designer series paper to glue around that. So that's one. Now I'm gonna fold on the second score line from the left. And I just wanna show you what's happening here is these two panels then are completely lining up where we want them to go. I'm gonna start first. This is kind of how I do this. It's a little wonky, but not totally wonky. I'm gonna drop that other magnet so I know which side is the right side, okay? Meaning it's gonna line up the positive and negative, or positive to positive, or negative to negative the right way. So I can be strategic about picking this up and putting a glue dot on the back of it, okay? So we know which way it should line up. I'm gonna use my fingernails for this one because I wanna make sure I've got that folded flat. Again, it's a little hard to see because we're on black, but we're folding on the first score line from the right, the second score line from the left, and then I can drop that right there. So the glue dot is underneath that guy, okay? But those are lined up now before we put our designer series paper. So let me bring that in. And I'm just gonna take this piece and we're just gonna do the back side of the template here as sort of a scrap piece of paper. This is kind of a larger piece. What I need is 2 pieces that measure 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. So 2 3/4 square. But I'm gonna take this full piece here and show you what I'm gonna do. Grabbing the dark Real Red Stampin' Blends marker, okay? And if you don't have Stampin' Blends labels, I do have those available for purchase. There we go. And I'm just gonna take the brush end and we're just gonna have fun and just gently, I'm just brushing across the white, following sort of the same pattern. This is already kind of a brush stroke here, but this is gonna give us a more dimensional gingham pattern with a pop of color. Sarah Douglas had demonstrated this on an event for leaders on, I think it was the Rings of Love designer series paper, and I was like, ah, I would have never thought of that. Such a cool idea. And this doesn't need to be perfect. Nobody can draw straight lines, can they, without a ruler? So I'm just, and the brush strokes aren't straight either, so just kind of giving it a cool, kind of brushed pattern, adding a little pop of color there. Just gonna keep adding to my mess here. And then we're gonna do 2 pieces, 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. Again, kind of creating on the fly here. It's in my head, but we haven't finished the sample yet. We got those cool patterns there. We'll bring in our gift box. Now I purposely have not glued anything together yet because I want to be able to use my surface as leverage to glue these pieces down. So we're gonna start, we can just kind of flip it over. We're basically covering our magnets. So you're gonna be a little bit generous with glue, not too generous. And then we're gonna make sure that is stuck all the way around. And just take your time around the magnet and make sure, because we want our magnets to stay in place, especially for safety reasons. Again, I always recommend if you've got small kids, just use Velcro dots, okay? But I know many of you love the magnetic closure. Hey Mary, welcome, your first time watching. All right, so that's good and glued down. There's gonna be a little bit of a bump, but not much. Gonna be hard to see on camera. These are really tiny. They're only a 32nd of an inch in width. Why I love them so much, but they're still super strong. Neodymium rare earth magnets. There we go. Again, making sure that that is glued down all the way around the magnet. Takes just a few seconds for that glue to stick. And then we'll see. There we go. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is take our tabs, and I'm gonna just do 1 tab at a time, liquid glue. We're gonna line up this score line with this cut edge to form our box corner here. And it's so funny, the black just very hard to see on this camera. Of course, I probably should have done my Scottie dog first. But that's all right. We're popping them up on dimensionals anyways. And then just work your way around with all the tabs. Whoops. Just a sweet little gift box with kind of a cool closure. There we go. Last tab there. And just take your time lining up that cut edge with the score line, and that'll give you a really sharp corner there. All right, let me show you the box that I found the Walker's shortbread rounds. Okay, it's the snack packs. We found these at our local Publix. Nolan and I went to a couple grocery stores, but that's where we found them. And they're just really cool. We'll have to send the kids with maybe these for a snack one day this week. No, Brian's like, no. All right, so this guy is gonna fit right inside. Kind of a perfect fit. You got a little bit of extra wiggle room in there. You've got those nice tabs kind of folding down. That gives you a really nice finished edge on the inside. Kind of a cool pop of that gingham pattern with that touch of red there. And then we're gonna take our little Scottie dog and we're gonna pop that up with dimensionals and finish this box off. I like to do a lot of dimensionals, so we'll do that. Let's see, one in the center. Oh yeah, Brenda, I think the liquid glue is out of stock right now. It's been on low inventory for a while, so that's probably what's happened. And then we're gonna pop that up here. I feel like it needs a little bit more, but we're gonna do this for tonight, and maybe I'll do something different when this hits the blog. So there we have our Walker's shortbread rounds, 2-flap gift box. Again, this one will not fit a gift card because it's a 3x3. Let me share the dimensions with you. 3x3x1. And let me bring in the coordinating card. There we've got our 2 projects tonight using Christmas Scottie, the Christmas Scottie bundle. Showing you a different way to use it. Doesn't have to be for Christmas. Love that paired with the Walker's shortbread. So, if you got some tips or tricks, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow. We are about to jump into Q&A, so let's go ahead and do that. Let me tee it up. If you do have a question, put Q: in front of your question. Let me get that teed up here, and we will do, let's see. There we go. All right, looking for the blog post with the template for the box you made last week. So I am way behind on blog posts because of life, right? Nolan had COVID. The kids have unexpectedly been home for 2 weeks from summer camp, and it's just been chaos. So the blog hasn't gotten much love lately, but we're back to work next week. You will see blog posts next week for sure. So a little bit of a backlog. We're going back to the Rings of Love A2 card pouch. That's going to be the first project that posts with a shortened video tutorial, template, and all that good stuff. So hang tight. If you're not already subscribed to receive my blog updates via email, you can go to thepaperpixie.com/subscribe, and you'll just get an email each time I publish a new post. That way you don't have to keep checking the blog. So great question. Thank you, Jackie. I appreciate that. Oh, your hubby loves Walkers. They're so good. Love them, love them, love them. When will the joining offer change? There's not always a added bonus to the starter kit. Right now, the starter kit comes with the Making Plans collection, which is a paper planner, a stamp set that coordinates with it, as well as a trio of notebooks. That is available now through August 31st. And then, as far as I know, on September 1st, the starter kit will continue to be $99 for up to $125 in product. No additional promotion that I'm aware of at this time, but it does change frequently, so stay tuned for that. They're doing a bunch of different things. Raquel, we are on YouTube. I'm getting comments from both, but we had a rough start today because my mic didn't work, so I had to start a brand new stream. Let's see. You don't worry about glue being on the very edge of the paper. I don't, Nita. I don't go right up to the edge. And I try to be as light as I can with the adhesive so that when I do press it down, it doesn't squeeze out over the edge. It does take a lot of practice, but yeah, don't get too close to the edge. Thank you, Deb, for answering Raquel. Would using your Stampin' Scrub be a good way to break in a new photopolymer stamp, kind of rough it up? I think so. I've never really tested it myself, but if you're having trouble with sort of the ink pooling on it, you can try that. You can try the good old rubbing it on your jeans trick. You can condition it with a little bit of Versamark. You can try a couple different things. I always recommend with photopolymer sets that if they're brand new, you know, they kind of through the manufacturing process, sometimes it's not, I feel like the ink sort of repels a little bit when it's a brand new stamp. So sometimes you can clean it first or try a couple of different things, but do a stamped image on a scrap paper before you stamp on your project just to make sure it's inking up the way you want it to. Your new stamp pads are inky and you're getting little bubble marks when you stamp. So Melissa, there's a couple different things you can try. You could take like an expired credit card or gift card and try to press the ink into the ink pad. I have the palette knives, which I think we still sell, but this is kind of what I have on my workspace. I kind of press the ink in. It's what I use to re-ink as well. If it's extra juicy, you could actually take some of the ink up. I would be careful using a paper towel. You just want to make sure that it's not a super linty paper towel because you don't really want lint on your ink pad. I don't know if you all have had that problem. I sometimes get dog hair on my ink pads just because dog hair goes everywhere, but that can sometimes stick to your stamp and kind of make a mess of your project. But I would try pressing the ink into the ink pad. Or if you need to kind of, sometimes they get a little over inked, you can try to pick up some of the ink as well, but try those two things and see if that helps. Let me know if I miss any questions because sometimes I'm terrible about scrolling too fast. Can you please repeat the name of the punch you used to make the slit? Yes, that punch is the Very Best Trio punch. That's got the ribbon slit. That's this one right here. And it's got sort of an angled corner edge, and then this one makes great tags. Okay, so again, Very Best Trio. Clarifying the template for the box from last week, looking for the scoring measurement and size of the paper you started with. Was last week, oh, last week was this little guy. Margot, was this the one from last week? I don't think I have my notes written down. 3 3/8 by 5 3/8 is what you start with. And on the 3 3/8 inch side, you score 1 inch from each side. And on the 5 3/8 side, you score at 1 1/8 and 2 1/8 from each side. But this will post to my blog very soon. Okay. I'm not a Scan and Cut affiliate, Lynn, but I am an Amazon affiliate, and Amazon sells the Scan and Cut, so sort of indirectly, yes. Hey Raquel, welcome home. Very hot El Paso, you're home from El Paso. Thank you. Can you demonstrate using a marker to ink the stamps? I sure can, Yvette. Let's do that really quick. Come back to demo here. This might be a good one. I'm gonna go ahead and clean it really quick. Now sometimes with the photopolymer, it's a little difficult with Stampin' Write markers, but let's say, let me grab 2 colors here. Sorry. Drawer. Let's do. I think I grabbed Real Red and Basic Black. I did. All right. Let me grab. So direct marker to stamp works a lot better on red rubber. Just gonna caveat that here for a second. And I like to use the brush tip end. So this is a Real Red Stampin' Write marker. I'm gonna go ahead and color the word loved. I like to start with the lighter of the two, or the lightest of the colors first, okay? So I'm inking up, and you don't have to hurry too much because we're gonna sort of re-moisturize it. So I did that, colored on the word loved. And then I'm just coloring direct to stamp here. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see that. Now this might not look fantastic because usually with the photopolymers, and then what I'm just going to do is huff on the stamp. Just with my hot breath, it sort of re-moisturizes the ink, and then I'm going to stamp it down. And then you've got a stamp set that has 2 different colors. Like that. How cool is that? All right, great question. Let me come back to Q&A here. Why not just punch the dog out of black paper instead of inking it up? Great question, Snowy Mom. I kind of like the detail of the little eye on the Scottie dog. And there's a little bit of detail, I don't know if you can see, but underneath the legs. And I love that white outline for some reason. So that's one of the reasons why I inked it up versus punching it out. But absolutely, if you're doing a whole bunch of these Scottie dogs, punching it out of black would be great. Have I missed any? Do you have a tip for releasing the paper from an intricate die? Yes, Vay, I got a couple of tips. One is when you're looking at the die, there are little release holes on there that you can use take your pick tool, the pokey tool end, to pop those out. If you've got really intricate dies that are really holding onto the cardstock, next time you run it through your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, put a piece of wax paper on top of your cardstock before you put the die on top of it. And what'll happen is a little bit of the wax will kind of be left behind, and that's gonna let your paper release from that die really easily. So wax paper is a great trick for those. You'll notice kind of when you need to use a piece of wax paper again, but just use a little scrap of wax paper, sandwich it between the die and the cardstock, and that's gonna sort of help the intricate dies release that cardstock much easier. And then you'll notice when you need to use a piece of wax paper again. Hopefully that helps you. Oh, Crystal, thank you. I get them done every 2 weeks on the dot. I had the same appointment every Tuesday. Thank you. Where do you purchase your Post-it tape dispenser? Becky, I've got it listed. Whoops, not that one. Hold on. Listed on my favorites page, thepaperpixie.com/favorites. It is called Post-it tape. And it comes in the dispenser as it's sticking to everything else. This is what she's asking about. It is basically just a roll of Post-its that's just complete adhesive on the back. Love using that for masking projects as well as holding dies into place before I run them through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So yeah, you'll find it on my favorites page. Let's see, do I have 2 Stampin' Scrubs? I have 2 Stampin' Scrubs, Brenda, but I don't separate between Stampin' Mist and Stays-On. I use them both, on both. It's usually, I use those Stampin' Scrubs so much, I kind of have the cleanest one in rotation, and then when that gets dirty, I'll bring out the cleaner one, and I just clean them basically when they stop, when there's still like a little bit of hue left on the stamp. I usually try to stamp off onto the grid paper after I clean it to see if it's time to clean my Stampin' Scrub. But no, I don't separate between the Stays-On cleaner and the Stampin' Mist too much. But I see why you're asking that if you're using photopolymer. But I haven't had an issue with that. So Stampin' Mist is for rubber and clear stamps. Really, it's intended to condition the red rubber, but I use it for both because it works really, really well. Would press and seal work for masking? I think it would, Sharon. You have to give it a try and keep me posted. I didn't even think about it. It's probably a little bit hard to manage as far as pulling it off the roll. I don't know if you can easily cut it with scissors, but give it a try. That's a great suggestion. Brian is not a demonstrator. I guess you're my supporting demonstrator, but no, he's not. Do I ever cut your stamps? I do sometimes, Nancy. But I have to think long and hard about it, only because I typically, when a stamp set retires, I will sell it. And I feel bad cutting a stamp and then selling it because the buyer may not have wanted that stamp set to be cut. But yes, I do occasionally. Yay, Emma, I'm so glad you let me know it was you. My regular schedule. So, my regular schedule is I am live every Wednesday. I've kept that up pretty consistently because I love being with you guys Wednesday nights. My blog, we're working on what that schedule is going to look like. It's not going to be an everyday to the blog, I don't believe. I can't keep that schedule up these days. But probably 2 to 3 blog posts a week is where we'll be at. Having the bow on the card makes it seem more like a gift in itself. Yes, I love that. Is the card holding pouch clutch on your blog yet? Not on the blog yet. It will hopefully be on Monday, okay? Do I save my box scraps to use for dies and punches? If they've got a score line through the middle of them, Margot, I just toss them, especially when they're small. Tonight's scraps are super small. So yeah, I won't be saving those. Those will go right in the trash. Otherwise, we'll be swimming in scraps for sure. Is that a 1/2 inch punch? I'm wondering which one you're asking about. The punches I used tonight, we used the Scottie dog, the Very Best Trio, the 1/8 of an inch circle punch, which is just a little hole punch for the tag. And then the rounded corner comes from the Detailed Trio punch. I don't know if it's a 1/2 inch round on the corner. But I think that might be what you're asking, or maybe you're asking about the ribbon slit. Hold on, let me measure that for you. The ribbon slit on the Very Best Trio is about 3/8 of an inch. It's a little bit less than that, but pretty close to 3/8 of an inch. Hopefully that helps you. What is your trick for easily removing individual magnets from the strip of magnets? I don't really have a great trick, Sandy, but I just kind of like, I don't know, hopefully you can see this on the camera. I just kind of try to slide a pair of them off, just kind of pulling it that way. Sometimes I get 3, but do you see how I'm kind of giving it some tension? Just sliding 2 of them off. I got 2 there. Hopefully that helps. But yeah, they're super strong, as I'm sure you've experienced, which is a good thing. Have you ever done an explosion box? Would you consider doing one? Ooh, have I done an I've done one, the mushroom pen. Brian's favorite project of mine was an explosion box that held a mushroom pen it was the Snailed It suite, right? That's what it was. So I have done one explosion box. I stick to very simple, Fiona. So as far as sort of elaborate explosion boxes, it's just not my style. And it's got to be really quick and easy for me to teach, because my #1 goal is that every single one of you can walk away from my tutorial and feel like you can make what I demonstrated. So I'm very particular about the projects that make it to my tutorials, or the projects that I design for my tutorials, because I want to make sure that everybody feels like they can make what I share. So explosion boxes kind of teeter a little bit on a little more complicated, but thank you for the suggestion, and I will definitely keep it in mind for a possible future project. Does that mean Brian wants to eat them all? Oh, when I said putting the Walker's shortbread in for the kids' snacks, no, he's like, he doesn't like the kids having any sugar whatsoever, so that's why I was laughing. I'm like, he's gonna say no to that. But he doesn't like sugar himself, so how is that fair? Is there enough room to add a tea bag with the cookies? Oh, I'm looking. I think you could get a tea bag in there, Donna. I think you could. You'll have to try it. But it is, that Walker's box, or the shortbread, is just about 1 inch. There's a little bit of give, so you might be able to get a tea bag in there. I don't know if it's the one she made last night on her live. I actually didn't even look at the tutorial. I just saw a photo of it, and I'm like, well, that's cute with the 2 flaps on it. So I don't know. I'm not sure if it's similar to that layout, or if that's what she did last night. If you don't have the Stampin' Mist, you just use water. Yes, Allison, you can absolutely just use water. A lot of folks use the Simply Chamois, which you just put water on that. So yeah, water would work as well. Absolutely. The Stampin' Mist has ingredients in it. I don't know what the ingredients are, but they help to condition the red rubber. So it's just kind of a little added extra to that, but water works just great to clean our stamps. Can you tell me if the adhesive Stampin' Up! Cells is necessary with the gold gilding flakes? Oh, you're probably thinking about the heat and stick powder. It's not completely necessary. I actually did a project with the gold gilding flakes using tear and tape adhesive. I did actually a gold strip. I will tell you, I probably won't work with the gilding flakes again because they're right up in line with glitter. No glitter is allowed in my craft room. But you can use other adhesives with it. The heat and stick powder is really to help you sort of stamp an image with Versamark and then turn it into an adhesive thing, but you don't have to use that with the gold gilding. You can use different types of glue for sure. Is there a discount going through you for Amazon or a coupon code? No discount, and it's no difference in price for you. It's whatever the Amazon price is. I just appreciate if you use my affiliate link. I always appreciate that, so thank you. Can you please do a 3D making a dog house? I will keep that in mind, Judy. Again, that is probably something a little complicated because I like to try to keep things as simple as possible. That's my MO around here, but I'll definitely keep that in mind. That would be cute with the Scottie dog for sure. Oh, there is actually a Marcy tonight. Okay. I'm referring to you, Margot, but yes. Do I still do Prize Patrol? I do not, Lynn. Nope, no more Prize Patrol. I'm talking about Angie at Chicken Scratch, yes. Awesome. I think we're at the end of the questions. Did I miss any that you noticed? No? Awesome. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Again, apologies for the hiccup with the mic, but we got it going eventually, about 15 minutes late. I'll make sure to delete the live stream that didn't work out with the microphone. But if you got some tips or tricks or something you learned new tonight, please like, subscribe, or follow. I will be live again next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for my episode 251. It'll be the first week of school, so I may be dragging behind next week, but we're going to get ready with the new school schedule, and I'm excited for the kids to go back to school. Thanks for joining me tonight. Thanks to those of you that have watched the replay. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed week, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Take care. Bye.